Peter now and listen to this discussion. Good morning to you.
Leanne, thank you very much indeed, and a very warm welcome to you at home, wherever you're watching us from. I know that there's quite a number of viewers also beyond our borders in other countries, particularly in the SADC region, so welcome to you as well. Today we're in the Free State, as Leanne was saying, and we'll be talking to the Premier as well as some of his MECs up here on the panel, but there's a whole delegation of MECs here to discuss the state of the province. The Premier delivered the State of the Province address late February, but I think that a lot of the issues that are coming out of the Free State perhaps can be an indicator of what's happening in the country in general. So maybe there are lessons that can be learned about how the province has been able to tackle some of the burning issues, manage them, progress has been made, and also perhaps how they're going to address some of the challenges that remain. And we certainly look forward to getting your input as well at home. At Morning Live SABC, hashtag TNA BizBrief is our Twitter handle, so you can communicate your questions, particularly if you're in the Free State. If there's something that you'd like to put through to the Premier and to his MECs, please use that Twitter handle. It's not often that we get an opportunity such as this. And as you heard from Leanne, I guess a starting point is the State of the Province address, but there are many issues in where you are that you might want to raise them today. And also an interesting China Week taking place this week, and we'll find out what that means for the province, and maybe could there be lessons learned in other provinces with these kinds of partnerships with other provinces in other countries, and China is on the equation here. And we know the Free State certainly has made progress, it's done a lot of things in the province, but it has its challenges as well, and we're going to unpack all of that in the next hour or so, an hour and a half, and we look forward to your participation. But let's say a very good morning then to our panelists, and we say thank you for joining us. And I just want to say thank you very much and welcome to you, Premier Ace Magashule. Thank you so much indeed. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, Peter, and good morning to you and our listeners and viewers, and our beautiful and lovely audience.
Great, fantastic. And to my right, and I'm going to introduce you in the order that you're sitting, the MEC for Health, Dr. Benny Malakwane. Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to you as well.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. MEC for Police, Roads and Transport, Mr. Butana Kumpela. Always good to see you. Thank you so much and welcome.
Good morning, Peter. Good morning to all the lovely Free Staters.
Okay, wonderful. And perhaps the rose amongst the thorns, Matabo Lito Me. Thank you very much indeed and welcome. MEC for Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation. Okay, Sam Mashinini, MEC for Public Works and Infrastructure. Thank you so much and welcome to you.
Good morning, and the listeners at home and the viewers.
Great, and one man is always smiling because his province always does well. MEC for Education, Tate Macho.
Good morning, Peter. Let me also pass my regards to all the teachers who may be watching this program and say thank you for the good performance. Okay. And making me who I am.
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do, very briefly, I'm just going to ask the Premier to perhaps give us, in summary, very briefly, what his big message was for the State of the Province address, and then just get very quick comments from each of the MECs about what they're going to be doing in their departments and what their big thoughts are. So, Premier, if I could just start with you, State of the Province address, what is the State of the Province?
Well, maybe if we all, let me just say welcome to the Chinese. This is China Week in the Free State because this year is China Year in South Africa. We're reflecting back in terms of our history and moving forward into the future. Getting back home during the State of the Province, we have actually emphasized, because this is government continuing, we have emphasized the 5 priorities in terms of our election manifesto since 2009, and it's a continuation. Focus number 1 on education, health, crime and corruption, creating sustainable jobs, and the main theme will be around the issue of radical socio-economic transformation and unemployment, and promoting social cohesion, our national flags, our national symbols, uniting the people of South Africa back to what we have stated in 1955. We're celebrating 60 years of the Freedom Charter today. Non-racialism, non-sexism, united, democratic, and indeed we want to achieve a prosperous South Africa.
Okay, Premier, thank you very much indeed. And then we're just going to go very quickly through our MECs. Big stories, big ideas in terms of your departments. And we'll start with you, MEC Malagwane. Health, you've been in the headlines quite a bit in recent weeks. What's the story going forward?
Fortunately for having been in the media for quite a while has inadvertently made me famous or recognizable. But our health service delivery agenda is still premised on addressing the quintuple burden of disease, which we have coined so in the Free State, because mental health care has begun to take center stage amongst the other burdens of disease that have been plaguing the province. So the agenda continues, and we would be focusing all our energies in ensuring that we do our best to reduce the disease burden on the 5 areas that we have identified.
Okay, all right. We'll unpack some of the issues with you as the program unfolds. Next to you, interestingly, because I saw you on the news last night, because some medical vans were being used, and you're the MEC for Police, Roads and Transports. Your hands are full because there's a lot on your plate.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, it's a continuation of the directives of the manifesto. It's a big challenge that we must create a stable Free State. We must create a Free State that attracts economy in terms of the roads. But again, it's a Free State that completely wants to get rid of crime and corruption in all its form. And we are hell-bent in doing that.
Okay. Again, we'll unpack a lot of those issues of concern for the people in the province. MEC for Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Melito, your thoughts and the role that you see your department playing, particularly, I guess, around social cohesion. This is a big word in our country at this time.
No, thank you very much. I think all of us knows that our department has a huge responsibility of ensuring that we create a united, non-racial, non-sexist, prosperous society. We do that through implementing programs of sports and recreation and also programs of cultural affairs. On sports, this year, I think for the first time, we will be organizing a Free State marathon, which was not there. We will continue with our school sports, where we are distributing equipment and attire to 136 schools. We want to increase those schools. I'm sure everybody is aware that last year, all these years, we have been number 7 at national level, but we have improved our position to position 3. We continue with other programs that develops talent in our province. We have your Free State Sports Institute, which assists your elite sport people, which has been declared a national center now. I think on promotion of social cohesion, we've been organizing social dialogues. We will continue with them this year, but we are saying we need to start at a developmental level. So we are going to introduce programs where we'll be distributing your national flags, competitions of your African national anthem, the African Union anthem, your national anthem. We'll be interacting with churches, because we're saying churches has played a vital role in ensuring that we get our liberation. They also have a role to play in the current phase. Now, I don't see the reason why they can't sing the national anthem as part of the program of the church, because people who are in the church, they also live in the society. We will be also doing the Heroes Park at Tabanchu this year. We will rename Lebohang building to O.R. Tambo. We will also erect the statue of O.R. Tambo at that building. Sir Swartz will be changed to Fidel Castro this year. And many other names are going to change, because as we continue with our revolution, we need to ensure that the derogatory names are being dealt with. But remember, there is no future without the past. So as the department, we have a huge responsibility of ensuring that we create a united, non-racial, non-sexist society. On the 23rd of April, in launching the Freedom Month, we will be having a dialogue in the Free State where we have invited universities, student organizations, your AfriForum, progressive and non-progressive organizations to come and say what progress have we made in terms of creating this united society that we want. What are the bottlenecks? What is it that we need to do to address those bottlenecks?
All right, we'll unpack a lot of those things. I think the whole thing about statues and monuments is very topical at the moment, and perhaps you can give us a sense of how you're dealing with that in this province. And I was very interested to know who the non-progressive movements are, but we'll talk about that going forward. Okay, MEC, Public Works and Infrastructure, that's a big portfolio and one that's constantly has huge expectations. What are your plans?
Look, thank you very much. One of the key area of focus for the department is to begin to change the life of the people of the province. And you may actually ask yourself, how do you then intend as a department to do that? First key area, you go to the municipalities and make an impact in terms of the township revitalization. You begin to change. It's an ongoing job. You begin to change how the roads are looking like in the township. And I'm sure if you can go to the rest of the province, you'll begin to realize that. The second one is that you then have to deal with the broad infrastructure program. You see, the department cuts across. It deals with the education, it deals with health. You look into the hospital, you look into the schools, you continue to build, because the Department of Health will say to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, we need a particular hospital renovation. Education will then be saying, we need a particular school. We then get in there and deal with the matter. Lastly, the key area of focus that is raised in the State of the Nation address and also in the State of the Province address, we speak about how do we impact on the job creation on the ground. And one of the key area of focus here is to make sure that our people continue to get the jobs on the ground. And that's why in the province, there is the slogan that we're talking about. You massify the project. You make sure that the people on the ground gets employment. That's a key area of focus because we cut across. Remember, Free State is the basket of the entire country and it connects each and every province. So we are there. We have to make sure that our roads are intact. We have to make sure that our buildings are intact. We have to make sure that the houses, you see, remember the Freedom Charter speaks about there shall be shelter. And one of the key focus is to make sure that the province, the Free State, exactly complies to that.
All right, we'll get some feedback from our viewers on how well you're doing on this ambitious project. MEC for Education, State MEC, another great year for you. You've set the standard quite high, and I guess the question is, how do you improve on something that you're doing well, and also making sure that those at the very bottom can also get raised up to experience the same kind of education as those at the top?
No, thanks, Peter. I think that you are right. We have set a record of 87.4%, and up to so far, no province has broken that record. So we have to go and break that record this year by ensuring that we get the 90% that we aspire for. And I think in that process, as you exactly correctly say, the trend that we've been seeing in the province has been that the township schools from the poor areas, rural areas, have been performing very well. If you take the number of schools that we have in the Free State, the high schools are about 322, and about 51 of them actually got 100%. And out of that 51, 19 of them came from township schools. And when you look back in 2009, it was zero. There was no township school that actually achieved 100%. And I think that is something worth celebrating. And the second thing that we are looking at, especially on the vulnerable children, you would see as we go throughout our province that we've been establishing a lot of hostels for farm learners, because we don't want to see learners walking 20 kilometers to school. We want them to move into decent hostels. We want them to have 3 meals a day. They must have a bed, and then we'll have quality education. And I think the other thing that is important is that we allow them over the weekend to go home. But what has been very interesting is that some of the younger ones refuse to go home over the weekend because if they think to go and sleep on the floor compared to sleeping on the bed at the school. But what is interesting is that they are staying longer in the school now, and therefore they are doing very, very well. One of the most important campaign that is bearing results is a campaign of Maths for All, where we are actually trying to demystify mathematics and science amongst young black children. And I'm so happy, Peter, that many of them are taking up mathematics now. If you look at the numbers from last year of learners who are writing maths in matric, they have been increasing. And I think this year, I think 90% or so of the grade 10s are tackling mathematics in our schools. So I think in the next few years, we'll say bye-bye to unemployment, we'll say bye-bye to lack of skills, we'll say bye-bye to lack of engineers and so on. And our partnership with countries such as People's Republic of China it will be very important because our universities here are not enough to absorb the number of learners that we are going to produce. Therefore, that is why we have to look for international friends to be able to absorb those kids. It's all going forward. Siyaqhuba lapha eFree State.
Okay, 90%. You've said it on TV now, so we're going to see at the end of this year. All right, so that's a first look and a first sound, I guess, of some of the thoughts from our MECs and the Premier. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to start hearing from you and also from our audience here in the Free State, and we'll start this conversation in earnest, unpacking some of the things that you've heard. So don't go away. Make sure that you're part of this conversation. We'll see you just now.